Southwest Florida, welcome back to another edition of Lee Pitts Live. We're here at Sidney Barn Davis Center, downtown Fort Myers, the epicenter of Fort Myers downtown River District. And we're here covering the poetry night here that takes place. We, of course, talk to people from that organization as well. And you want to start coming down here and participating. Lee Pitts Live is glad to be a media sponsor of the event tonight. Who do we have here? We have the Chief of Police. Chief, let me bump you in, just grab your cup, and everybody know that nothing is in the cup, and just sit it right there. It's a tradition of the show, Chief. I know you haven't had a chance to bump in. It's always a thrill to get you on the show. The Chief will not be doing poetry tonight, folk, but he is certainly getting out in the community. Chief, when we have events like downtown where people can come out and socialize in a safe environment and just enjoy the downtown Fort Myers, how does that make you feel as a chief that's patrolling the area?
Well, it makes me feel real good because it demonstrates that we're able to protect our community and the community feel that they're safe. So when we have events like this and we see the number of people that come down and enjoy themselves like this, it lets me know as a police chief that we're doing the right things as far as public safety.
Now, this weekend here downtown in the River District, we have this night here that we're actually taping the show on a Friday night. We have the Light Festival. Draws, I guess, thousands of people. Way in advance, your police department starts gearing up for things like these, right? Tell us about that process.
Well, it's a pretty regular process for us now because we've had these events now in Fort Myers for many, many years. So it's really basically almost routine for us. But it takes a lot of staffing because we have to have extra patrol officers down here deployed, in addition to make sure that we have our officers in the neighborhoods. We can't pull from the neighborhoods for these special events like this. So we have to make sure we have the proper amount of officers down there deployed on bikes, on foot, and in patrol cars, and cameras are manned down here to make sure we keep people safe.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that you talked about early on when you first took the job, and you've been doing, from all accounts, you've just been doing a fabulous job in restructuring the police department and making it even better. And you talked about technology as the cornerstone of where policing is, and that will be a big part of what you do. How are we coming in terms of technology?
We're coming very, very well. As I said before, we're putting up more cameras in our various neighborhoods. We're even reinstalling cameras we have here in the downtown area. We have plans to purchase more cameras, and right now looking at what neighborhoods we feel that would benefit using that technology. We've just received approximately 145 brand new body cameras, and we'll be one of the very first police departments in the state of Florida to outfit all of our police officers in body cameras. They just came in. We're going to get those deployed probably over the next several days. So we're moving fast and we're moving forward when it comes to technology.
Chief, you're making my job easy because that was supposed to be my next question. I'm supposed to look smart. Okay, so we got the body cameras now, but they're not on every police officer yet. Is that fair to say?
Not yet, but they will be in about a few more days.
A few more days. Okay, now, one of the things that I noticed with the body cameras in another world, that it also captures the good things that police do. I saw this police this morning on television that got this lady out of a burning car, and he's all on national news. And I was like, see, body cameras can work in a lot of different ways, right? So
absolutely.
When you think about a body camera, we think about somebody catching somebody doing something wrong. But when you think about the advantages of a body camera, what comes to your mind?
When I think about body cameras, the first thing that comes to my mind, number one, is about officer safety. I want to always make sure that I equip my officers with the latest and greatest technology and equipment that's there. Number two, I'm talking about accountability. To make sure our officers are doing the things that we said we're sworn to uphold the law and have a set of conduct and behaviors that's above and beyond reproach. And then, of course, number three, trust in the community. Let the community know that they can trust us, we have nothing to hide, and when it comes to building up that trust and accountability, body cameras fit right in with that initiative.
You talked about community policing, again, a cornerstone of who you are and your ideology. How are we now, since has it been 6 months yet?
6 months.
That was a wild guess, man, half a year. Community policing, how's that going?
We're working very hard to overcome many of the challenges. I would say we're heading on the right path. The word I get from the community, and I'm out in the community all the time, is that they like what they see. Is the job done? No, but we're starting off on the right direction, and from what folks tell me, they like what they see out there.
Okay. You just said 6 months. I guess 6 months. Does it seem like it's been longer or shorter than 6 months for you?
Well, it seems like it's been here a lot longer than that, okay. But it's been 6 months.
Okay, all right, okay. The diversity in law enforcement, essential?
Very essential.
Elaborate.
Very essential. We have to understand that in the police business, we have to make sure we have a police department that reflects the community that it serves. And diversity is a big part of that. And since I've been on, we made sure that at 4 different recruit classes that have graduated, where we had officers on there, those officers have been reflecting the community that we serve. So diversity is a very, very important part of my overall initiative. It's very, very important in community policing, and I believe we're on the way and heading down the right path to ensure that at some day, not yet, we're not there yet, the numbers aren't there, it's going to take us some time, but we're on the right path to make sure that our police department reflects the community that it is here in Fort Myers.
When you say diversity, City of Fort Myers to Police Department, describe Sesame Street diversity to us.
Sesame Street diversity?
Yeah, what is diversity? Diversity
is making sure that we have the right racial composition, the right ethnicities that reflect the community that we serve here. We have to have individuals, and we used to have an old saying in my old patrol days, it takes all kinds. And we want to make sure that we are the type of police department that the community feels comfortable with and can trust when we're doing our duties out there.
How about now, when you come across various people who speak various languages, that comes into play as well. So you have people on the law, right? Go ahead.
Oh yeah, we have officers that are fluent in various different types of languages, which reflects the community out here. It helps us improve our communication. But the big thing about diversity in policing is that it's about trust. The bottom line is folks out there trust other individuals that look like them.
Okay.
And it's very, very important. It's been proven time and time again. And so we have to make sure, number one, that our officers have the right characteristics to be police officers. The police business is a tough business, and it's a business that we have to garner the community trust. But number two, we got to make sure that our police department looks like the citizens that it serves.
Very good. And it was good to hear it come from you in that particular way. You have not been bashful. You have constantly talked about the importance of youths and how we get youths involved in various things. To that end, you had ideas about what the PAL program should look like, the Police Athletic League. Where are we here in Fort Myers now with our Police Athletic League?
Well, one thing I want to make sure we focus on in our Police Athletic League is we have a home. And for once, we finally have a home with the Police Athletic League. We have teamed up with the Boys and Girls Club, and they generously allowed us to have space where we can call our own. We can put up our equipment, our facilities. We've had an increase in the number of kids participating in our PAL Athletic League facilities, and we're moving on the right path.
So you're in various locations throughout Fort Myers, or I know there's a Boys and Girls Club at the Fort Myers Housing Authority.
Yeah, we got one. We're there also. They're allowing us to be there. Plus at the main Boys and Girls Club out in
Palm Beach area.
Yes.
Okay, that's
absolutely,
great.
Absolutely.
Now, you like talking to kids, actually yourself. You go out and talk to kids. What kind of message what's your message generally like?
You understand, I'm a big kid, man. You talked about the good athlete over there that's you're going to interview in a few minutes. I'm sitting up there saying, hey, I want to talk about my athletic days.
Okay.
But we'll save that for another show.
Okay.
But it's very, very important. I have a sensitive spot for our youth, and I think that part of my job is to make sure that we do our part as a police department to support the youth that we got out here. It's a tough world nowadays, and the youth that we have today, especially a youth that comes from broken families and all sorts of other social problems, we got to be able to try to support them as much as we can. And at times, because of the way society is put together, sometimes many of our youth falls between the cracks, where there's not having the educational opportunities, maybe having situations where they're not getting the right type of health care, and a host of other social things that we all know about. And I think the police department has to play that role, has to play the role to try to provide what kind of support that we can. And number two, we have to ensure that kids who sometimes fall off the tracks, sometimes go down the wrong path, to try to find proactive and creative ways to give them second and third opportunities to get back on the track. Because the bottom line is this: the number one way to reduce crime in a community is not by arresting people and taking them to jail. It's by making sure that people have an opportunity to get a job, a job. And young folks today is not going to get a job unless they have one thing in their package: a high school education. And so we need to do what we need to do as a public safety agency, as a police department, to try to support those young folks out there, to keep them in school and so they can graduate. If we can do that, that means they can get a job, that means that crime goes down, and they can become productive young adults to help make this community a safe community.
And those people also being in those PAD programs, interacting with law enforcement at an early age, they also can be encouraged to possibly a career in law enforcement, but also once they grow up and start matriculating in the community as teenagers and adults, they know those law enforcement officers. Community policing is slipped in there along the way, right?
Absolutely. One of the key things I tell folks about why I really talk a lot about the Police Athletic League is because it allows young folks to get the chance to know police officers in a different role. And officers can be mentors, coaches, and it allows police officers to help these kids develop the right structure, the right discipline, and the right self-esteem to help fight off all the negative things that young folks have to do today. So I like that. And those officers that work with these kids, they're not just these guys in uniforms. They know them as Officer Bill, Officer Tom, Coach this, Coach that. And it provides that bond that I believe so important with our youth today.
The process of supporting the Police Athletic League, are there ways that non-police officers can be involved in supporting what the Police Athletic League is doing? Donations, coming out volunteering? Is there any way they can also be a part of that?
We got a PAL board that works very, very hard, and we got a great PAL board here. And they work very, very hard finding ways to support our Police Athletic League. And I would tell your audience today, if you got folks that want to donate, we love to take their contributions. If we have folks that want to contribute, whether it's in the gym, working with our kids, and as far as coaching, as far as mentoring, helping with homework. We have teachers out there who want to volunteer to mentor in some of these kids with schoolwork. We got a role to play for anyone that wants to come and involve our police athletic.
Now we have your website appearing on the screen throughout the interview. If they go to that website, it'll direct them to different places, or is there a phone number you like to give right now?
Well, we'll go to the website, but contact me at the police department. We'll make sure that we'll get those individuals' information, and we'll get them involved in our program.
Well done. What are some of your future efforts for the department? What are some plans?
Well, the plans is always there's three major thrusts that I will focus on my entire time here. Number one, building police community relations. I just left a meeting with my engagement team, the consultants that have came here and that's working with me to improve police community relations in the city of Fort Myers. I just left a meeting with them. We talked about how we completed phase 1 and we're starting to work on our phase 2 of the initiative. They're going out into meetings right now to meet with certain folks, and that's going in the right direction. Most folks are telling me from the community they love this process. Number 2, of course, reducing the violent crime. And as you're aware, we just had a major investigation where we took about 23 individuals and charged them and took them off the streets. The most violent of individuals in this community, and they're still in jail. And hopefully we'll have a successful prosecution against those individuals. And so we're working hard on that. We will continue to be very firm, very focused, and very aggressive toward those individuals who are committing violent crimes in this community. I make no apologies of that. I'm telling you this right now. I've been warning people, I've been talking to people, I've been telling people. And something about Fort Myers, there's a few folks that just don't want to believe it.
Okay.
But we're going to stay focused because we're going to bring the violent crime down and make sure that the good folks here have safe and comfortable neighborhoods. And then number 3, to make sure that we get our police department to the point where they're a 21st century police agency. give the officers the training, the tools they need to do their job, to keep themselves safe, and get the technology that we need to have to make sure we can effectively make this community a safe community.
Excellent. Back to what you said early on about the large arrest that you made with violent offenders on the streets, and that you hope you can get them prosecuted. I know you've heard me say Sesame Street, that you'll learn that what that means to make it simple for people have to understand, and they can help in that way, witnesses and people of that nature, that in order for you to be able to prosecute or convict somebody, I'm trying to act like I know what I'm talking about, there are certain things that have to happen after you arrest them, evidence and things of that nature. How kind of tell us, the next step?
Well, the next step is always, once we get these individuals off the street, we just can't stop. The investigations continue on and everything else. The thing I need to emphasize to you, and I've always emphasized this to members of the communities, now more than ever, we need their support. At times folks were afraid to talk to us, afraid to get involved. Now we're making the community safer. That doesn't mean we can stop what we're doing. We need the community support now more than ever. We need you to start supporting what we do out here. We need to let us know what's going on in your community. No matter how long a person has been a police officer on the streets of this city, they will never know the community as well as the individuals that live and work in these communities. So we need them to let us know what's going on. We need them to help us help protect them.
To what extent, final question, to what extent can people be anonymous, and to what extent can they expect to get a certain amount of protection? I think I saw something recently about that in the newspaper.
Whenever there's a situation where folks want to remain anonymous, there's methods and ways to do that through Crime Stoppers or other methods. And of always, we are not going to ever put someone in danger when they're trying to support what we're trying to do. And we'll work continuously to do that. We have various ways to do that, and all we have to do is to come to us and give us the information we need. We'll work all that out.
Okay. Well, Chief, again, it's always a pleasure. You've been a friend of the show. You show up on time when I need you here. We're going to be continuing to talk to you, continue to keep the community informed. And again, I want you to understand that Lee Pitts Live is a place for you to get your message out.
And I appreciate the opportunity to come on your show, and appreciate the partnership that you're doing with the Fort Myers Police Department. And please continue, and we'll come here as often as you think necessary.
Now, right now we're at our 6-month level. At the end of 6 months, you're going to come on the show by yourself, camera, just like the president. You're going to give the state, we're going to do it every year, the state of the Fort Myers Police Department address. Man, it's going to be fun. Right. We'll be right back with another guest right here at the Poetry Night at the Sidney and Barn Davis Art Center, and we'll talk to some of the poets soon. We'll be right back.